Okay, so what we have here today is a Silvertone, which is going to require a bit of repair. I bought this on eBay, and
Bit of a split on the back there.
yeah, but all the pictures were very clear on eBay, so there's nothing here that I didn't really expect. No, that's going to fix up fine. This is a fun little instrument because it was never an expensive guitar. This was always a cheap kind of department store guitar. And you can even see here the markers, the fret markers are actually just painted on.
Well, that's very classy.
You can actually see a bit of spray marks there on the outside. The neck appears to be reasonable. I won't really know until I string it up. I don't think there was any truss rods in this.
Oh,
So,
how do you get to it?
Well, there's no
access.
That's right. Yeah, well, you could. They could have put something up here, I suppose, but there's no truss rod. But I think it'll be okay. This is not an instrument I expect to play, really fast, low action. This will be a bit of a fun kind of Archtop just to busk with or something like that.
I think it's got potential.
I think it's got potential. It's quite nice. Just needs a good cleanup and re-gluing of some of the loose veneer. This happens quite often on old guitars, that the veneer cracks open like that.
Yep.
So we'll do a detailed repair on that, and I'll video that as well. But for the most of it, it's okay. So it also came with the original pick guard that goes on there.
Do you know what year this is?
I'm not quite sure. I think we're talking. No, I think in 50s.
50s.
I'm thinking 50s. Yeah. The headstock, I think, is a 58.
Right.
So you can usually tell by how this looks. I'll do some more research and I'll let you know. Now that I actually have it here. Is there any? Not there's any serial numbers. There's something stamped inside there. And this is the bridge, I think. But if memory serves me right, on the pictures I saw on eBay, the bridge is broken. But I have another bridge like this, so that piece is still perfectly okay. That's the piece for the pick guard. There's another piece in here. So the actual bridge assembly here, which is just a piece of wood really, has cracked. So I'll either remake one, which is relatively easy. It's a piece of timber. Or I think I have one that will probably fit on there. So it's got two little adjustment screws there. That basically just sits under the strings there. So that's the unpacking and initial inspection. The other thing, which was supposed to be from, it's missing one of the tooth wheels there. But again, I think I got one of those sitting in a box somewhere. So that's not really a drama. All the buttons are here, so bit of a clean, bit of a setup, bit of glue, bit of patience, a bit of fun.
A bit of a rescue.
A bit of a rescue, and I think we're going to end up with something which I'm not going to say it's going to sound great, but I reckon it'll be fun to play. It's kind of one of those things you could just kind of have fun with. So I'm actually just warming the knife a little bit on the iron here.
The iron there. Some high-tech stuff there.
Oh, that's right. I don't know what else you'd use an iron for, really.
There is no other use.
Can't imagine why you would want to iron clothes. And that kind of slides through it.
That was quite effective and easy.
Yeah, see that's coming up now. Now this funny old guitar here. This is not a binding. Again, it's painted on.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So on another instrument, if you try and do this, it could prove to be a little bit more complicated. You have to pull the binding off first.
Yeah, which is kind of like a ribbon of material, plastic.
Yeah, plastic. Sometimes timber, but usually a plastic ribbon. And again, it's not the end of the world. If you can get it off without too much damage, then you can just glue it back on again with a bit of sticky tape, holding it in place while it's drying. So I've done that too. It's not a big drama, but in this case, it is just painted on. So it's a funny old clunker, in the sense that it was made to a budget.
Yeah.
But the binding on the outside of a guitar doesn't really do anything for the sound. So it doesn't mean that it's going to sound any better or worse by not having a binding.
That's right.
So if they were making a good guitar cheaper by just painting the binding on, I think they probably, you know, did the right call. Because I'd rather have a guitar that sounds good with the painted on binding than one with the plastic binding that sounds like malarkey.
Well, aesthetics are very important to some people, but really this is the back of the guitar.
Well, there's the painted on the front. Be careful when you do this, you know, like you don't want to end up having a guitar and no finger.
Safety first. You tell that to Django.
He might be the exception. See, there's a crack there.
Oh, new crack.
No, that was there.
Oh, that was already there?
Yeah, that was there.
Are you sure about that?
Oh, I'm sure. So see here, it's coming apart pretty easy actually. I'm not even sure if the heat is having much effect on the glue or just making me feel better about it.
Hey, here we are.
There we go.
And that's what the inside of
So you can see here that the bracing is no longer attached. Even this one here has come loose. So
yes,
the only way we could have fixed that really was to take the top off. There's no way we could have been able to glue that in situ. And you can see here the glue is really fibrous.
Yeah.